How is the personal life going? Is Ross in a relationship?
I mean, Ross single right now. How is the personal
single
life going for you right now?
Yeah,
It's
we
going
single
great.
as a
How is
motherfucker.
it?
It's going great.
Cause I'm losing faith in the dating world, you guys. So I seen you
are?
say that on the internet the other day.
Why?
I don't want to
Why?
speak on people's names, but I'm just losing faith.
I know what you're
and
talking
I tell
about.
no.
Oh,
I
you talking
always-
about somebody.
If I open my fence, I be telling girls I'm seeing so many girls kiss and do so. I'm like, at least make it worth it a little bit, y'all. Y'all gotta show like.
Hey, so wait, is Meek in a relationship?
No, not at all. I mess with a few girls that I got they back and they got mine. You know what I mean? For real.
I like that.
No, hell yeah.
I think somebody gonna be mad when they see this, me.
I don't
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. The way he said it was player though.
You just gotta have a back, you
But
know?
what's it like now being in a relationship? Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Glorious. It's
Is it?
glorious. I'm a long-term type of person, so I'm on the road to marriage.
I think the world is
That's
changing
amazing.
though with the long term. You know
That's
how you
amazing.
scroll, you might see, you can see so much drama.
You must manage your emotions. You gotta master the art of taking the L. Cause being the boss, you gonna lose, you gonna win. Block your blessings, man. A little reckless sometimes. You could be sitting right next to the next play that could have put you in position.
Living lifestyle in excess can be a blessing. Have money when you want and then blow it, no second guessing. Yo, we flying in them jet planes. That's how we do things. Ben sitting on Fujiatos, cruising the fast lane.
Don't be scared to get to the money at all times. I went to sleep 3 a.m. I was back up at 6:30. Excited. No excuses. My bad. Yo, shut the fuck up and let's get to the money, man. Nobody seen my vision. Nobody believed in what I was talking about. And I get it. That's cool. Just give me some time and I'm gonna show you how we finna do this.
I want young entrepreneurs to understand when you somebody and you get 10 grand, you can make it to 100. You get 100 grand, you can make it to $1 million. You get 100 million, you could hit $1 billion, homie. You just gotta keep being great at what you're doing.
It's a lot more for us to accomplish. When you wanna be great, you wanna be great. It's really not a ceiling. You know, it's like when you coming up in Carol City, your dream is just to be a millionaire. You know, you get your first one, you want 10, you get 10, you want 100, you get 100, you already know it.
Yeah.
It don't stop.
Correctional officer is just rapping like a drug dealer. It shows you that's the point in our culture that you can identify with you actually being who you say you are, doesn't matter. That's the point where if it sounds good, they're fine with it for a short period of time. You can tell it over it now, but they went for it. Well, gunplay, we had a run-in with gunplay. Well, you can ask him how that one went.
I had a seizure on a plane. That's how Rick Ross tells it. Calm, casual, like it was nothing. But here's the wild part. When it happened, he didn't even believe it was real. He woke up confused, disoriented, and when his homie told him what went down, Ross brushed it off. Man, stop lying. This wasn't some random scare. This was the biggest boss in rap, laid out cold at 30,000 feet, forcing an emergency landing with flight attendants fighting to keep him breathing. Rick Ross built an empire worth tens of millions, mansions, Maybachs, champagne dreams, but behind all that luxury, his body was quietly giving up on him. Seizures, violence, enemies, public humiliation, multiple moments where it should have ended, and yet, it didn't. Because what almost killed Rick Ross is the same thing that eventually saved him. When you hear the name Rick Ross, you already know the image. Bigger than life. That booming voice, that untouchable energy. Maybach music wasn't just a label, it was a lifestyle. But before the fame, before the chains, William Leonard Roberts II came up in places where dreaming big felt dangerous. Carol City, Florida shaped him. Survival mentality, hunger, pride. And when Ross finally broke through, he didn't slow down. He went harder, touring non-stop, studio nights bleeding into mornings, barely sleeping, barely resting, convincing himself exhaustion was just part of greatness. That grind mentality, it was eating him alive. Ross wasn't just chasing success, he was outrunning himself. And the warning signs were stacking up long before anyone paid attention. But the first real alarm didn't happen in a hospital. It happened midair, October 14th, 2011. Rick Ross boards a flight from Fort Lauderdale to Memphis. Another day, another move, another check. Then everything goes black. Ross collapses on the plane, completely unresponsive. Flight attendants rush in, CPR rumors spread. The pilot turns the plane around for an emergency landing. And when Ross finally comes to, he doesn't even know it happened. 6 hours later, just when everyone thought he was in the clear, it happens again. Another seizure, another flight, another emergency landing, this time straight to the hospital in Birmingham. 2 seizures, same day, same body. Doctors initially blamed exhaustion. Too much work, not enough rest. But Ross would later admit the truth ran deeper. No sleep, heavy substance use, constant stress, a deadly mix. And instead of slowing down, Ross kept pushing. Because the boss mentality doesn't believe in limits, but the body always collects. 7 years later, the universe forced him to listen. March 2nd, 2018. Early morning. Rick Ross is found unresponsive at his Miami home. A frantic 911 call describes heavy breathing and a situation spiraling out of control. By the time paramedics arrive, Ross is combative, confused, barely holding on. Police are called just to stabilize the situation. Early reports say pneumonia. Then the truth leaks out. Ross is placed on ECMO, a machine that does the breathing when your heart and lungs can't. Life support. The last line between living and not waking up. The internet explodes. Death rumors fly. Fans brace for the worst. Ross later admits when he woke up and saw officers standing over him, he genuinely believed his enemies had finally caught him, that he was already gone. That's how disconnected he'd become from reality. And if you think that was rock bottom, it wasn't even close. January 28, 2013. Rick Ross's birthday. Instead of candles and cake, gunfire. A vehicle pulls up and opens fire on Ross's Rolls-Royce in Fort Lauderdale. In pure survival mode, he floors it, dodging bullets before crashing into an apartment building. Miraculously, no one is physically hit. But mentally, that kind of moment stays forever. The attack came after online threats connected to gang politics and extortion demands. Ross refused to fold. From that point forward, security was mandatory. Movement was calculated. The message was loud and clear. Success doesn't just bring money, it brings targets. And while Ross was fighting threats from the outside, another war was destroying him publicly. All it took was one moment at an awards show. A look that felt disrespectful. That's how the Rick Ross and 50 Cent beef ignited. What started as tension turned nuclear in 2009 when Ross dropped mafia music, taking shots at 50's personal life. But the response was devastating. Officer Ricky. One diss track flipped Ross's entire image. 50 exposed Ross's past as a correctional officer, a job Ross held before rap. In a genre obsessed with street credibility, that revelation was brutal. Then came the cartoons, the mockery, the nonstop clowning. Ross wasn't just being dissed, he was being turned into a punchline. And it didn't stop there. Personal relationships were dragged into the spotlight, embarrassing moments weaponized, lines crossed that couldn't be undone. Years later, courts would rule against some of those moves. Money would be lost, lawsuits would follow. But reputational damage? That hit immediately. And the stress from that pressure only fed the habits destroying Ross' health. Round and round it went. As if that wasn't enough, another figure stepped into the spotlight. Freeway Rick Ross, the real-life drug kingpin from 1980s Los Angeles, whose name the rapper adopted. When Freeway Ross was released from prison, he sued, claiming the name and demanding millions. The case dragged on for years. Public debates, moral arguments, questions about authenticity. Eventually, the court sided with the rapper, citing artistic expression, but the noise never stopped. Add in legal trouble, arrests, charges, headlines, and then came the loss that hit different. In late 2025, Ross's longtime manager and close friend passed away from heart-related complications after a night of turning up. Ross was there. He noticed something was wrong. Watching someone you love go out the same way you almost did. That forces reflection. For the first time, Ross stopped running. Rick Ross admitted it himself. Without those health scares, he wouldn't have changed. He believed he was invincible. Athletic background, big frame, big appetite, bigger ego, but survival rewires your priorities. Ross dropped between 75 and 100 pounds, not through shortcuts, not surgery, discipline, diet, movement, rest. He still enjoys life, but now with awareness. And something shifted. The man who once glamorized excess started talking openly about health, about rest, about listening to your body. In a culture that praises self-destruction, that honesty mattered. And Ross didn't just change personally, he built differently. Maybach Music Group became a launchpad for artists like Meek Mill and Whale, but Ross's empire grew far beyond music. Wingstop franchises, beverage brands, health-focused investments, real estate. His net worth climbed toward 9 figures. Musically, Rick Ross never disappeared. While the game shifted, trends flipped, and attention spans got shorter, Ross stayed consistent. Features with the new generation, albums that still charted, verses that reminded people why his voice carried so much weight in the first place. In an industry that moves on fast and treats legends like yesterday's news, Ross refused to fade quietly. He adapted without chasing. He stayed relevant without begging for relevance. That alone separated him from most artists who peaked and vanished. By 2026, Ross wasn't just focused on music anymore, he was focused on meaning. That's why he began preparing the release of another book, a deeply personal project chronicling a long road trip across America. Not a tour, not a promo run, a reset. A journey meant to strip away the noise and reconnect him with himself after years of chaos, pressure, and near-fatal wake-up calls. Pulling up to historic landmarks, sitting in silence, reflecting on everything he survived and everything he almost lost. Ross described it as a creative reawakening. But really, it was a survival story. Despite years of death hoaxes, confusing headlines, and constant online speculation, Rick Ross is still here. People have counted him out more times than he can remember. Every health scare sparked another rumor. Every hospitalization turned into a premature obituary. But he kept waking up, kept moving forward, kept proving that the narrative wasn't finished yet. Still building, still evolving, still learning. And somewhere along the way, Ross finally understood something that took him decades and multiple near-death moments to grasp. The real flex isn't money. It isn't fame. It isn't even power. It's longevity. So what's the tragic fate of Rick Ross? It's not death. It's that he had to almost die over and over again just to understand how valuable life really is. He had to feel his body shut down when the grind went too far. He had to wake up confused, surrounded by doctors and police, questioning whether he was still alive. He had to see bullets flying on his birthday, reminding him that success doesn't protect you from consequences. He had to endure public humiliation, betrayal from unexpected places, legal pressure, and the loss of people he loved deeply. All of it pointed to one truth. Success without health is a countdown. Rick Ross could have let the seizures define him. He could have let the beef erase him. He could have let the violence, stress, and self-destruction write his final chapter. But he didn't. He chose to change. He chose discipline over denial, awareness over ego, life over image. Because the biggest boss move was never the mansion. It was never the Maybach. It was never the millions. It was surviving long enough to actually enjoy the life he built. Rick Ross is still standing. And that's the realest flex of all.